Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with Kent. For Thursday, May 13th, 2021, we're brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry. Dr. Mike O'Neill, the best dentist that there is. If you got to go to the dentist, and you've got to go to the dentist, why not go to the best dentist? Give him a call. That's all you have to do to make an appointment. 317-849-2933. I've been a patient there 27 years. I keep going back for one reason. He's the best. I keep telling you. Hit subscribe, punch like, ring the bell. Let's go. Let's talk about sports. We found out last night what the Colts schedule looks like. I like the Colts schedule minus one thing. The bye week being in week 14, I think absolutely sucks. I'm not real friendly with the concept of 3 away games in a row, which the Colts have to deal with. A couple of times where they have... one time where they have that kind of dynamic. They have a couple of times where there are multiple home games in a row, which I guess is a good thing. It's all fine. Everybody's got their issues with the schedule. Everybody always thinks they get screwed. Go to Big Ten Basketball Media Day one time and listen to the coaches talk about how they're all getting screwed by the 20-game schedule, and they have to play the best teams in the Big Ten multiple times, and the worst teams in the Big Ten only once. Everybody thinks that. Everybody thinks they get screwed when the schedule's released. I've got the Colts at 12-5, going 5-1 in the division, sweeping Jacksonville, sweeping Houston, and then splitting with the Tennessee Titans. And then in the other games, I've got them going 6-5. So actually, what is it? No, I've got them going 7-4 in the rest of the games. And so they go 12-5. They win the AFC South. And I think they do a legitimate job of putting themselves in a situation where they can succeed in the playoffs. I've got them beating the Jets, obviously. I've got them splitting the first 2. I don't think they're going to lose the first 2 again. I got them losing the opener against the Seahawks and then winning the next week against the Rams. I cannot see a scenario where they lose against the Rams. They will beat the Miami Dolphins in Miami, and then they'll lose to Baltimore, at Baltimore. 4 nationally televised games, if not a 5th. That 5th could be against the Patriots. The Patriots game is either December 18th or December 19th. One game that looks kind of nice, and immediately the phone blew up with people who want to go down to Nashville and see the game against Tennessee. That's on September 26th, when the weather ought to be wonderful for such an excursion. It's only 4.5 hours away. Nashville, very, very fun town. People are happy that the Colts are going to play 4 games in primetime. Last year, what'd they get, 1? I don't know why. I think primetime games are a pain in the ass. They've got they've got a Thursday night game, that game against the Jets. Great. Then they've got a Saturday night game, and that game is on Christmas Day. That game's in Phoenix against the Cardinals. They've got a Sunday night game at San Francisco and a Monday night game at Baltimore. So one game in Indianapolis. People get all excited. Well, the country gets to see Indianapolis. Isn't that going to be nice? I don't care. I'd rather the country didn't know about Indianapolis. I'd rather America had no idea that this town even existed. Let it be. Let it remain a great secret. Let it be that. I know it doesn't help real estate prices, which, by the way, are going up very, very quickly because people in Illinois cannot wait to move to Indiana. But let's not ruin this place with a bunch of people from Philadelphia and Boston and New York who finally discover that Indianapolis is a great place to live. Let's not expose Indianapolis nationally so it becomes a destination. We don't need what's ruined those cities to come to Indianapolis and pollute us. We don't need that in our society. Is that a little bit like myopic? Probably. I don't mind that, though. It took me figuring it out. All right? I figured it out. And happily, I did. I lived in Chicago. I had no idea how miserable I was in Chicago until I moved to Indy, and I was like, hey, people here are nice. This is a wonderful place to live. Let's not bring a bunch of people from Chicago down here to wreck it. Can we do that? A lot of good people in Chicago, but I got to tell you the truth. A lot of not so good people. That's the way it works. A lot of very, very competitive people. Anyway, Colts going to go 12-5. I like the schedule. Starting the season the way they do with the 2 home games against the Seahawks and the Rams and then 3 on the road. Not generous, but that's okay. You're playing 9 home games, 8 road games. How they split them up, I don't care. And you can bitch and moan all you want about schedules. I don't think it makes any damn difference. Let's talk about Indiana. Indiana, really, really interesting. They are looking at a kid named Michael Durr. He is a 7-foot transfer from South Florida who committed and signed to Virginia Tech as a transfer. Now he's leaving Virginia Tech, and Indiana's kicking the tires. That kind of size, you'd love to get. This is a kid who averaged 7.9 rebounds a game last year, 8.8 points per game, 79% foul shooter. This, Indiana fans, you get this. First thing I look at when I hear that somebody is looking at Indiana and that Indiana is looking at them, I look at their free throw shooting percentage. Indiana's got to do a better job from the line, and the key to doing that is recruiting guys who can shoot free throws. You recruit guys who hit 50% from the foul line, they're going to come to Indiana and they're going to hit 50% from the foul line. You recruit guys who are going to hit 8 of 10, they're going to hit 8 of 10. Michael Durr, a kid who hits 8 of 10. I like it. 7-footer, a rim protector, big guy, runs the floor, plays hard. I like Michael Durr. If Indiana gets him, that's a step in the right direction. Now, how that affects scholarships, I don't know. Right now, they're at 13. Michael Durr played his junior year at South Florida. He's got 2 years of eligibility left. This COVID year has thrown my understanding of who's coming when and when they cycle out and how many scholarships are left into complete disarray. I'm in chaos trying to figure this out because what we've got to figure out at this point is if Michael Durr is going to graduate or has graduated from South Florida. If he has, he will not count against the 13th. He comes in as a free scholarship, not against the 13 for Indiana. If he hadn't graduated, I believe he would be the 14th, and somebody would have to peel back, either leaving or renouncing their scholarship and just sticking around. I don't know. We'll see. You know what? That's for bigger brains than me to figure out. I just don't know. Indiana football got a commitment yesterday, a transfer from Auburn, Jaron Handy, 6'5", 252, former top 100 player in his high school class. Indiana doesn't get a lot of those guys. Hadn't played a lot in his 2 years at Auburn as a true freshman and then a true sophomore. Put together 2 seasons where he didn't play a whole lot. Did have a sack against Alabama, I guess. But you get a guy with this kind of athleticism, this kind of size, and you get a little bit excited about his 3rd and perhaps 4th season as he toils in Bloomington for the Hoosiers and Tom Allen. Tom Allen and Indiana, they're recruiting at a different level. They're getting a different level kid than has been the case with Indiana basketball or Indiana football at any point in my memory, and they're winning. I don't know what to think about that. Every time I look at an Indiana schedule, I see 4-8. And then they go 8-4 or 9-3 or something like that, and they beat the hell out of Michigan. And I look and I say, well, what happened to Indiana? This isn't the Indiana I know. I just can't get it out of my head that Indiana has a great chance to win against programs like Penn State, Michigan, Michigan State, and even, yes, Ohio State, perhaps. We'll see what happens this season. I keep waiting for the stumble. You know what I mean? Because that's all we've seen in our lifetimes. You know, Indiana show promise and then stumble. We haven't had the stumble yet. Pacers tonight against the Bucks. They are only a game and a half behind the Celtics for the 7th spot in the play-in event that is going to be just, I guess it's going to be fun for us. I think it's nonsensical, but what are you going to do? I think that the Pacers have a good shot at winning the last 3. Beat the Bucks, beat the Lakers, beat the Raptors, and you go 36-36 and you avoid a losing record. I think the Pacers have an opportunity for that. They could, like I said, climb as high as 7th because the Celtics and Charlotte are faltering. Or Pacers, they could lose out and fall as far as 10th. But they are in the play-in deal, and there's no way to avoid it, either on the high end or the low end. See what happens tonight, 7 o'clock against the Bucks. They have outscored their opponents this season in 69 games, 7,929 to 7,928. They have outscored their opponents by a single point. The National Federation of High Schools has approved the use of shot clocks for high school basketball. I think it's ridiculous. My God almighty, really? That is a solution in search of a problem. There is no problem with the pace of play in high school basketball, not more often than not. I have no idea why you want to clutter the game with yet another contrivance. I get it in the college game. I get it in the NBA, obviously. In high school, there is just no need for it. If a team wants to press the pace defensively, they can, and they can force a team to give the ball up within 35 seconds. Happens all the time. Very few high school teams are able to hold on to the ball with defensive pressure for 35 seconds before they shoot again. This is a solution in search of a problem. Let's celebrate some birthdays, shall we? On what is going to be a beautiful Thursday in central Indiana, as they all are. Zachary Taylor, not the president, but the fella, celebrating a birthday. Montgomery Scott, not the engineer from Star Trek on the Enterprise, but a different guy. Happy birthday. Mark Blodgen, happy birthday. Bill Heineman, happy birthday. Tammy Lively, a radio legend in Indianapolis and in Kokomo, where she toils today. John Stevenson, happy birthday. Terry Lynn Seiler, celebrating a birthday. Frank Thompson and Chris Bear, happy birthday. If today's your birthday, you celebrate like hell. If it's not your birthday, you celebrate somebody else had his best done with an honest and specific compliment today. And that means lift people, right? Let's make people happy today instead of make people miserable. That's what separates Indianapolis from all these other cities. In these other cities, what they're trying to do is be efficient for their own glory rather than lift others up, make them happy. So let's be the different type city and let's lift people up. That's what Indianapolisans do. We lift people up. Today, Inside Indiana Sports Now posts at about 3 o'clock, 3:30 every afternoon. We're talking about sports, nothing but sports. It's what we do. Because sports are important. And in a lot of senses, not so important. They're fun. And we like fun, don't we? We'll talk to you about 3:30 this afternoon.